Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Just when it looked like Rostermania had come to a close and the only changes we would see were London and the Vegas Legion, Minnesota Rokkr finally decided to actually do something, but it's a shock change in my opinion and from the majority of the community as well. Attach, the man they'd built around for the last several years and 2015 world champion, benched by the team for the immediate future. Fame, one of the players in their academy, is coming in instead. Does this improve their team as they try and stay ahead of Vegas at all costs to maintain their World Championship qualification spots? Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it because this is a pretty mad one, I can't lie to be honest. I thought they'd make a change. I thought they weren't going to make a change after we didn't hear anything for a couple of weeks, and now they have done, kind of at last minute. So the rotation were the first to hear about this possibility. I'm guessing they've been trialling this in scrims over the last few days. It was weird in a way because we saw after the major there were some scrims that leaked from the Rokkr camp where we saw them still playing with their team. So we're like, okay, if they're not making a change after the major, you'd think that was it. But clearly scrims have been going badly, possibly as well over the last few days, and therefore they thought, all right, it's probably time we actually look at some other options. Did some trials with Fame, and now they thought those trials went well enough to actually commit to the move. The rotations say just about an hour and a bit ago, Fame should be moving to the Rokkr starting team, and give it a couple of minutes after this really, Jacob Hale then corroborates and says, okay, I heard the same thing, but didn't have two sources to back it up, so didn't say it yet, but he was told that this would be an attach moving to the bench, which is quite surprising. People were like, there's no way that could be the case, but indeed it is the case. Rokkr confirmed shortly afterwards a new look for the roster Rokkr ahead of their home series, right, because they've got to perform in front of their home crowd in, I think it's Wisconsin, the one coming up this weekend, but I think in the Stage 5 qualifiers they're doing one in Minnesota. And if you're a Rokkr fan turning up to a LAN match, right, you don't want to see Rokkr going and get smoked, as they have been for some time, and presumably were in their practice after the major as well, because otherwise they might have well stuck to their decisions initially when they formed this team at the start of the season. So this is the roster. Afro stays because he was never going to go anywhere. Bance is still here. Cammy is still here. And Fame is the man replacing Attach. Very interesting for multiple reasons. Firstly, Fame has kind of varied his play for a little bit. Okay, very talented SMG player in the challenger side. Well, I say SMG player. I think he has used the SMG. He's also used the Flex though in challenges and is, we believe, going to be an AR player for this team. Looney says here in a second they've trialed some things out and Fame seems more comfortable on the Flex role, and I'm guessing this means Cammy now to the main AR, and Fame is going to be the Flex, and then Bance and Afro is the SMG duo. The COD confirm it as well. Rokkr are welcoming Fame to the starting team, and just to look at some quick numbers here for, this is on the 13th of March, right after that event concluded in his challenger tournaments. He had a 1.2 overall KD, a 1.06 in the grand finals, and there's a big question to say that he might well have been bound at the time for the starting Rokkr team. Also Real, right, another player on their academy system, the Minnesota Rokkr, Spanish player, but his English has been getting very good lately, very talented as well. He's certainly an SMG player, so I think honestly what they're doing here, Rokkr, makes sense. They're looking, I think, at what Toronto have done and said, damn, this team of 4 guys, all of these 4, I believe, at some point were on the bench, right? It was the case with CleanX back in Modern Warfare, it was the case with Insight back in the start of Cold War before he was brought into the team, Hicksy, of course, this year, Scrappy last year, and now all 4 of them have formed a team that could win an event at Major 3. So, you know, building from their academy system Ultra has helped them form a very competitive team over the last couple of years, and Rokkr have got the same ideas. They're also investing in challenges, finding talent such as Fame and Real, talents of the future, and, you know, it was inevitable, I thought, that after a terrible Major 3, they'd have to try something here, the Minnesota Rokkr, which they have now done. The actual move, though, in question is, to me, very surprising, the player they have replaced, given the fact that Attach has been on this franchise for the last 3 years, won an event with them back in Cold War. Yes, Vanguard wasn't good, but Attach was probably their best player individually. You can talk about stats and playing for kills, all this stuff all you like. Feel free to in the comment section below. But then this year again, Attach was rumored to potentially be leaving to Los Angeles Guerrillas. There was even talks of like OpTic Attach at a time, and then Rokkr said, no, Attach, you're coming back here. We want to keep you around. And I think Attach even didn't really like the idea that he had to live in Minnesota. He wanted to live somewhere slightly warmer throughout the majority of the year. And Rokkr, I think, kind of dealt with that request and said, all right, yeah, fair enough. We'll get you guys a facility for the winter period in Texas, which they've now done. So Minnesota committed a lot of resources to keep Attach around after he was their best player last season, and they're now benching him as their first move of the year. So I'll share some analysis here from Looney, who just discusses really why they're making this change in terms of the chemistry within the team. Sounds to me, really, they came back from the major, things haven't been going so well, and losing does just kill teams in general. general. The vibe, the chemistry was gone, and it's not necessarily like there was an individual at fault for that, and whether they need a one-for-one replacement for Attach to straight up do a better job, but it's just something had to give in the team. And you know, look, at the end of the day, we've seen this a couple of times before. If you team as an American, or you know, someone not from Europe, with 3 Europeans, we saw it with Ultra before, with Zinni, and we're now seeing it with Bance, Afro, Cammy, who probably get on pretty tight-knit, and Attach might be the outside guy. If there's chemistry issues, then if there's something to be changed, maybe Attach was the inevitable outlier there in a way. But I don't know what you guys think on that in the comment section, but I'll keep this short for you guys because the video is overflowing with charisma, as I'm sure you can tell.
So not only are we going to be making a coaching dynamic change, as we just talked about, we'll also be making a team change. We're going to bring in Fame for Attach going into our home series. We trialed him for on both roles because he ran a flex for us on Rokkr Academy just to see where his comfort is at the pro level. And after seeing both roles, he looked a lot more comfortable on the AR. The pro level, the pacing's obviously different. The teamwork's different. It's not, it's a lot slower pace. So I think the AR fit him best, and then that's why we made that move.
To speak more on Kev, he's a player that I've been really high on for over a year now, especially watching him back in the CCL. He's an incredible player with a really good mind for the game, which is why I was really interested in bringing him on the Rokkr at the tail end of the Vanguard season. Kev really excels in both roles, and he's just very inflexible and a sponge as a player where if you feed him information, he's going to take that in and implement it into his gameplay. And with this team, what the players and the coaches really felt like we were missing is a glue player on our team who's going to be that guy that will block spawns, pick up a lot of hill time, and just do whatever the team needs to win. It felt like there's a lot of instances throughout this year where everyone was trying to do a little bit too much on the map, and I think with Kev, we're going to have a lot more freedom for players like Cam and Marcus to kind of run around the map and do what they want.
Also on the coaches, Looney and Brian Saint mentioned that individually they weren't so happy with how they were performing as coaches. Looney said that he was kind of focusing too much all across the board. He's now going to focus more on the respawns and be a bit more forward-facing, whereas Saint is going to kind of basically work on search and destroy strats and counter-stratting and ideas rather than doing too much. So Brett Diamond kind of put the challenge to his coaches and said, look guys, you've got to sort this out right now or you're going to be out of a job very shortly indeed. And said that, look, they tasked their coaches to make the right calls, and that involves changing up what they're doing from a coaching perspective and also making a decision as to the roster itself. I guess they thought after the major, let's stick it out, because these trials, which clearly happened with Fame, have not happened too long ago. I mean, these happened just a few days ago, and I guess they trialed maybe a couple of options, but Attach out was certainly one of them, and that's the one they've decided to go with. Now, Attach did say, actually, we'll see in a second here, that this is not necessarily a permanent move. If they do well, of course, they're going to stick with it, but there's also a chance they bring Attach back into the team. That's not out of the realms of possibility. These, though, were their numbers after Major 3, and I was pretty mind-blown, I must say, that they didn't make a change in the immediate aftermath here. They've bided their time. They've now made a change kind of last minute, but it's certainly a surprising one. Their search and destroy from all of them was absolutely terrible. There's no two ways about it. 0-8 in search and destroy. Attach's numbers in the respawns were okay, but there's other factors in play for the numbers, right, than just pure KD. But 4-18 map count culminated to the worst single stage any team has had in CDL history. No one since this kind of format has been around for the last few years. Even Legion didn't have a stage this bad. I think they went 6-22 map count one stage, Vegas, but these guys went 4-18, so disaster class. And the numbers paint this type of picture. So what people say with Attach is, because he used to be kind of like a slaying SMG player, slower SMG type character a few years ago, back in even Ghost and even, well, Advanced Warfare was more impactful maybe than he has been in recent years, but over the last couple of years become more of like a main AR, which has been strange to witness that transition, but he definitely has always been a slower SMG, and he's certainly a slow AR. This is over the entire season. His numbers in terms of engagements are going to be the lowest on the team. His first blood rate is kind of non-existent, but that doesn't usually matter so much if you've got SMGs going rogue and getting those first bloods. Afro is the main guy to do that, but he doesn't have a crazy rate as someone like a aBeZy or even a Pred might have right now. So Attach, I think, in general, has kind of been doing his job, but a 0.8 in search is not really what you want to see from Attach. Typically a pretty good search and destroy player in his career, and these were the numbers just in stage 3 with similar stats in the respawn, but Bance individually had a big fall off. And to be fair, Cammy's numbers here look okay throughout Major 3, and that might be what has saved him in this team, because I thought, honestly, Afro's going to stay for sure. Bance to me was a question mark. I honestly did think Attach could be be potentially on the chopping block. I didn't think it was a guarantee any of those three guys could have been removed, to be honest. I thought Cammy was the marginally more likely, though, because Attach is the main, so Fame or Royale, the two biggest candidates given what Toronto has done to bring them into the starting team, didn't, to me, seem on paper to be an obvious replacement for Attach, but I guess they think just straight up making the team faster by getting rid of Attach is the way to go. The issue with this analysis is, from the Rokkr side, if that is true, that Attach says, and I'll share the clip here in a second, that the team, the coaches, were telling him to play slow. They were effectively, he even uses the words, he was on a leash. Whenever he tried to do anything a bit more aggressive or make some sort of plays, he was told by the coaches, slow down, calm it down, don't move, like, just sit here and hold the spawns type thing. And if he tried to do anything more than that, they told him no. So it's not like Attach is slow and there's nothing they can do about it. Attach wanted to play faster. The coaches say no, and now he's lost his position for it. So I'll just share a few clips here from Attach where he says, no plans on retiring. There's a chance he gets back into the team shortly if this doesn't work out and they try another iteration, maybe with Attach in and no Cammy or whatever, which it is an interesting consideration, right? But yeah, this clip here where he talks about the fact that he was, as Roddy says, he's getting cooked for being a snail, but apparently it wasn't even his choice.
I got benched. This is what the first iteration of what they want to try out to try and get the team morale, the team chemistry better. I mean, I'm not really mad at anyone individually. I'm not mad at any player, any coach, any org or anything. I'm still on the Rokkr. There is a chance I still play this year on the Rokkr. When you're losing, anything can happen. So you got to make sure you just don't get in this spot. But now they're in this spot. If they come out and fry, they have a new face, new chemistry, new energy, then I probably won't play. If they don't do too well, I might be playing in 2 weeks. So you just never really know what's going on. Just the environment wasn't good. It got to a point where it wasn't healthy. So we need to make a change. And this is what happened. But yeah, I'm definitely not retiring. No, I'm still trying to play. But realistically, it's nearly impossible. It's nearly impossible to get on another team in a good spot during the middle of the season, especially with contracts and everything. So most likely, I don't want to say anything for sure. Most likely, I'm just going to be on Rokkr the rest of the season, whether that's playing or on the bench. And then who knows what happens after this. You think because you were too slow? Nah. Because if it was up to me, I would not have been too slow. But I was just playing how I was told to play.
That's good.
I was on the leash. Say, you're moving too much. You go sit on that side of the map and you don't come out. I said, all right. I'm going to be streaming a lot until whatever happens. But yes, I will still be going. Am I playing challengers? No, I'm not playing challengers.
So Attach is not intending to go to challengers either. He could return to this team in the near future. I know that Attach said in an AMA a couple of months ago now that he reckons he's got 2, maybe 3 years left in his career. But the thing is, if he does get benched from Rokkr and the team does improve and does qualify for the World Championship, where does Attach go next? It's kind of tricky to see what that looks like for Attach, especially if this scenario unfolds as Rokkr hope that it will, I suppose. That, of course, they're hoping that their team will succeed without Attach, and they're hoping they've made the right call. However, some players definitely disagree with this assessment. Sib and Attach are very close, but Sib just straight up says absolutely insane this roster decision to drop Attachins. There's been of course the community is definitely in conversation about this at the very least, right? Lots of people are going to say this is an outrageous call. To me, I'm definitely surprised. I thought that it would be more likely that a Bance or a Cammy were to be the ones being removed, but I thought Attach was only marginally behind in the likelihood of a change being made in that position. And there's always been questions about his impact on the team over the last couple of years, but you've got to say, if the coaches have been telling him to play like that, then they can't really blame him at the end of the day if it's not performing. It seems to me that the team chemistry got to a point where something had to give, and Attach was the odd man out for whatever reason you guys want to speculate in the comment section below. Now, what does Attach do next? I know people have said, oh, you know what, team up with Clay for next year. That'd be exciting. Bring that duo back from winning the World Championship together on iLLeY Esports back in 2015, and the legendary FaZe team of the Jetpack era, which didn't really win too too much, but still pretty legendary team that they had. And well, Ziddy is like, look, attached. Welcome to the Challenger squad with me and Bose, and try and round out the roster in some way or another. These are their set of qualifiers, so they start easy and they get harder. Now, these 2 games are on LAN in front of the home crowd. Hopefully this kind of new, well, for Minnesota Rokkr's sake, this new team change buff, honeymoon period, whatever, can get them a couple of wins in front of their home crowds against Florida and LA Guerrillas. Then it gets harder. Subliners, FaZe, Thieves to round out the stage, so they've got to do well here. They've got to go, 3-2 would be good for the Rokkr, because they've got to try and stay ahead of Vegas, and that's far from a guarantee the way Vegas are coming diffy lately. But very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.